Welcome back to King Josiah TV, where this channel was created to educate, promote, and influence the kingdom of Jesus Christ in this world. I am your host, Josiah, as an ambassador. But guys, before we get started, you know how I do it. If you're listening on YouTube, go ahead and smash the subscribe button before we get started. If you're listening audibly on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, give me that follow button. Let's get into it.
Watch giants fall like Goliath. David, I dance. This ain't no tick-tock. God told me that my steps was ordered. Walking in flip-flops. Chris Rock, how they laughed at me.
Jubilee. They had a sit-down debate. He's a debater. I don't know if you guys know who I'm talking about. His name is Charlie Kirk. He had a sit-down debate with liberal college students. I wrote upon this the other day. Jubilee's always got like good discussions and good things that go on. I was like, man, this is some good stuff. They talked on some really good topics. They talked on abortion, transgender, should you go to college, all these sort of things. I'm not going to cover all of them, but there's some key points in that interview or in this sit down and debate with these college students that was really good. And we're going to bring some things back in the scripture and correction there, but let's go ahead and listen. Just a moment, guys. I'm going to pull this up on the screen.
He's going to win, I'm telling you. This could take a while.
Okay, first of all,
do we have our terms correct? We agree?
Actually, no. So first of all, I would like to refine our terms. I have 2 points to bring up after that, though. So you define murder as like intentionally like killing a human being.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a very poor way to define murder, because if someone were to like break into my home and point a gun at the heads of me and everybody I love, and I intentionally kill them to prevent them from killing my family, I don't think I murdered them, right? So I would define murder as the unjustified termination of a human life.
You're making a good point. Let me further clarify that. So self-defense is very warranted.
Exactly, right?
But I can see where you're going to go with how that has to go with abortion, but we can go down that journey in a second.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I kind of do want to give you my argument insofar as why I'm pro-choice, why I think it's justified.
Mm-hmm.
But first, I think that, you know, your position is quite absurd, right? Because you're saying that it is murder to kill a human being, right, at any point in development, especially when it's in the mother's womb. My question to you would be, well, does this make women with IUDs murderers? Because it is the case that...
See, this is, and before he answers this question, this is my issue when people pose this. When people talk about birth controls, like I said, IUDs, condoms, all these things. Oh, so then in that case, they're murdering too. No, you're changing the goalpost. The things that we're talking about is a actual human and ending its life. Once the egg enters the sperm, enters the egg, that is a live human being, even scientifically. All the DNA it will ever have, it has at that same time as it does that you hold today as a grown individual. So you can't change the goalpost, but let's let him answer.
That in some scenarios, an IUD will allow for conception to occur, meaning there's a unique human life there, but it will prevent its implantation, intentionally killing it.
Well, no, preventing implantation is not necessarily the same thing as terminating a fertilized egg. For example, if you take Plan B, again, it's not the same thing. Preventing the production of progesterone is not the same thing as terminating a being that has been fertilized. You do not know for a fact that the egg has been fertilized. You do not know that when you have an IUD.
Okay, yeah, so preventing fertilization or implantation to the uterine lining is killing a conceived zygote. So what happens? A sperm goes into the egg, right? The egg becomes fertilized.
His science is off. Like, he's trying to sound intelligent, but he's not. Dude, it's not a zygote, and it's not that until the egg actually enters the sperm and makes it all the way through the canal. It is not like he said, it's not a fertilized egg yet. So to say that it's already that before it's that, it's putting the cart before the horse.
It's a conceived zygote. In some cases, it will prevent the implantation of the conceived zygote, killing the conceived zygote.
In some cases, correct.
So what do you say in some cases, women with IUDs are murderers?
Of course not. They're not murderers. We do not know for a case. That's like saying that.
So what's the difference between an IUD killing a conceived zygote and like a mother going to Planned Parenthood and killing the fetus in her womb?
Well, so you're asking two separate things. If they knew for certain, to be more clear, that I have a fertilized egg and I'm going to take a drug to prevent that fertilized egg from attaching to their uterine wall, then yes, that is an act of killing or murder, of course.
Okay, so do you think all murderers should go to jail?
Do I think all murderers should go to jail? I mean, on third degree murder.
I can tell where he's going with that. Do you think all murderers should go to jail then? So all women should go to jail that commit? No one's saying that. It's still murder, yes. Is it right? No, not in any way, shape, or form. You're killing a human being. You're making a conscious decision to kill a human being inside of you. That's all he's saying. That's all we're saying.
However, no, I don't think women that got abortions or had IUDs should go to jail, because I think that they have been deceived by mass culture and mass propaganda. Secondly, the people who should go to jail are the abortionists, who are the ones that have been putting the abortion pill, the ones that have been doing procedures, the ones that have been going into the third trimester and breaking babies' backs and inserting them with syringes while the babies are crying and suffocating, being born alive, and then being dead on the operating table. That is who should go to jail.
The thing is, these things actually do happen, and these are the ones pushing these women to do this, influencing them to do this, and telling them that it's okay. Just because their baby comes out with a deformity, or just because their baby comes out with certain things that aren't, make their life the best, that doesn't mean that they deserve death.
Oh,
that was actually the best point somebody made.
We'll have to talk about
I know.
that.
Okay, whenever I'm talking about this discussion, I always go to the question of what about in the case of the mother when her life is in danger? Because I'm a big believer. I don't know. I'm still iffy on if I think it's or if it's murder or not. But even so, I mean, I don't want to say murder is justified. Guys, wait, let me just get this one point and then you can vote me out. Give me 1 second. Say the mother gets pregnant and she knows that if she gives birth, she's going to die. She has some kind of health complication. Then what do you do in that case?
Section.
I don't know what that means.
It's a C-section. They do an insert.
Guys, wait, hold on. Just give me 1 second.
They go right below the belly button and they deliver the baby. And after she doesn't have to give birth, it's technically birth, but it's much safer. So that's actually safer than an abortion procedure.
Move on to the next person. This is another one here. So I'm gonna skip this forward just for time purposes. There was some really good ones. This next kid, pretty much he debates him, and they start getting into things about like God, and it's some really good actual theological conversations. And this kid actually brought a really good debate. So, and they're still on the abortion topic, by the way.
Hi, Parker. Nice to meet you. Yes.
Nice to meet you, Charlie.
Big TikTok.
Parker's gonna come with it.
So, like, pedophiles, people who were married to children in the past and normalized in that society, should they go to prison?
Should pedophiles?
Like, if you could go back in time, would you put those pedophiles in prison that married those children because it was normalized? They were deceived into thinking it's okay. Would you put them in prison?
You have to slow down.
Sorry.
Pedophiles should get the death penalty.
It's not remotely the same thing. That's one thing that irritates me is people that want to go for these things like these abortion things and all that. They always compile things together that don't go together to justify their point. Stick to the facts and stick to reality. Stop mixing a whole bunch of other things together and putting them in together in a salad and being like, oh, no, if you say this, then you should this, and that's wrong. And what we're doing is right. No.
No, so you'd go back in the past, you give them the death penalty, even though they were deceived into thinking it was okay. But you said people who get abortions who are women shouldn't go to prison.
But it's not currently illegal.
Okay, regardless. At that time, it wasn't.
No, I would not go back and retroactively enforce laws where things were currently not illegal.
You wouldn't put pedophiles in prison in the past.
Hold on a second. When was it illegal? When was it legal in America?
Well, child marriage was legal in America throughout the early 1900s, and especially throughout most of society for thousands of years, especially in the Old Testament and in the Bible. Right?
Well, hold on a second. So where is the Levitical law that allows you to marry a child?
Oh, yeah.
Can you name the verse?
Well, I can't name the verse, but the particular conditions that are listed in the Bible are that you have to be.
Don't bring up points and you can't state it. I hate people do that. Don't bring up the Bible and then they always make biblical points like, oh, well, they kill babies in the Bible, or oh, God did this, but they can't, or the Bible is contradicted, and they never can actually bring up the contradictions. They can never bring up the actual scripture. They're just throwing stuff out for conversation and argument's sake.
The physical maturity and emotional maturity, which is extremely vague and throughout society has been seen to be met at puberty.
There is not a verse, but let's kind of go.
Okay, so when is the age of consent under your view?
There isn't one.
Let's go back to, well, generally agreed upon it's 18 years old. But let me ask you.
Because you don't go based on what's generally agreed. You go based on the Bible.
I say 18 years old, but let me ask you a question.
Where's that in the Bible?
When does life begin?
Conception.
Like conception, great. So good. So should we protect all life at conception?
I care about sentient life, not cellular life.
So when do brainwaves start?
Do you think brain dead people should be able to pull the plug on, like a family should be able to pull the plug on an individual in the family that's brain dead?
You got to answer the question. When do brainwaves start?
You can't cheat. He keeps changing the goalposts. Like they're on one subject. He's brought up the Bible, and then he switched it to Now he's talking about, pulling the plug on brain dead people, and then he switched a goalpost again. Like every time he just keeps changing the goalpost. Every time he can't win a discussion, it acts like Kirk isn't answering his question.
You can see brainwaves around 6 to 8 weeks, which in brain dead individual, there are brainwaves as well. So the brainwaves necessary to produce a subjective experience are met until around 18 through 26 weeks in the womb.
Can you see it from my perspective that it's?
I'm gonna let him answer, and that's another argument that people have is, oh, it's not a functioning human being. It doesn't have brains. It's not gonna feel it. It's not gonna remember it. None of that. It's still a human being. You can't discount something as being a live human being because it isn't fully cognitive and fully aware of its surroundings, or it doesn't have testable brain waves. That means that it doesn't mean anything. No, life is important at all stages, and that's what pro-life people are for. Is we are for preserving life at whatever stage.
6 to 8 weeks, those brain waves will actually increase, not decrease, if allowed the process of development to continue.
Did you know those same EEG scans exist in brain dead people that you don't think are sentient?
But the difference with the brain dead people is that the likelihood of those brain waves actually increasing is very low at 6 to 8 weeks, when by 15 weeks they can hear the mom's voice.
It's irreversible sensation. That's what brain death is. I
hold on,
didn't know that.
But no,
it's not coma.
But you're doing a red herring. Go back to
it's not. What's a red herring?
A red herring is where you avoid the topic and you say something that is adjacent or symmetrical to what I'm saying, but not actually I'm saying.
You mean a reductio ad absurdum? That's not a red herring.
A 6 to 8 week baby, if they're allowed to continue to develop, what ends up happening?
At a certain point, it will become a sentient being in the future. The same way that if I keep engaging in sex with my girlfriend, there'll be a baby in the future. Yet I don't care about the
unless
sperm.
You're infertile, which we don't know. But let's see the process of development, right? Why
do you want to answer my question?
Why do you have the ability or the right?
Should those child P3Os go to prison?
The process of
should the pedophiles go to prison?
From 1904. How many pedophiles are alive from 1904?
They're not alive, right? I meant like if you can go back in the past, hypothetically speaking, and you could put them in prison. Would you put them in prison?
I would have killed them myself if I was alive.
Okay, so then you don't apply it based upon what people are deceived to believe. You apply it based upon what you consider to be moral. So the women who had abortions, you think they should go to prison. So why should women who get abortions go to prison? But someone like my mom who told me that Santa Claus shouldn't go to prison because they're both sent.
No one's saying that. Like, that's the thing. Like, and it's my point, is a lot of people, and this isn't just this young man's opinion. A lot of people have this opinion. They will, and I've had people argue with me about it. You say abortion is wrong. You say life is important at all stages. And then they bring in a whole bunch of other topics and situations that have nothing to do with what you're talking about. But to justify their point, they put everything together. That doesn't make your point right. And that doesn't discount life because you want to say because it was right over here, because it was done here and it was done at this time point, then that means that it should be okay. No, just because we did something wrong for a period of time doesn't mean that all of a sudden life is discounted because of that.
Constructive debate if you keep on talking over me.
Well, right? I was finishing my statement and you were talking over me. Go for it.
Let me ask you a very simple question. Do you think it would be a good thing if we had less abortions in America?
It depends on the context. Like, are the abortions prior to sentience?
Yes,
because I think
all abortions.
No, it would not be necessarily better unless it is the case
abortion?
That the people didn't want the abortions and it would be negatively impactful to their health medically speaking.
Are you against late-term abortion?
You can't even
after sentence, yes.
Okay, so you believe in an 8-week abortion ban?
Yeah. No, I don't. Sorry, I believe in
See, the thing is, they do. Well, a lot of these people that are pro-choice, they believe that. They're not going to say it out loud. See, when they're pressed on these subjects, see how you start stuttering, he can't answer the question. I mean, everybody I've ever had this conversation with, they react the same way. Because when you start breaking them down, they realize how radical and how crazy their opinions are.
An abortion ban after 18 through 26 weeks.
Okay, that's a more reasonable position. I have to give you credit for that.
It's similar to Trump's 15 weeks.
Yeah, so why do you think that most people don't share your view on that?
Well, people just don't really know what sentience is. There's not a lot of conversation about abortion. And these conversations are very difficult. Like they're conceptually hard to go through. And I understand why a lot of people don't understand their positions on it.
So
but I think people
are where most
you're cutting
Americans
me off. I thought we weren't cutting people off.
I was actually complimenting
Now, before we get out of here, guys, just want to, as I always say, if you're listening on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button right now. Please give me a like, share this video with somebody that it might encourage or might, bring them closer to Christ, guys. And if you're listening audibly on YouTube, on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, go ahead and give me that follow button, guys. I will see you in next week's podcast. Love you. Appreciate you. Bye.
Wear my salvation on me like it's a helmet. The wages to sin is death, for send you to hell quick. Wanted to be all about me, God, I was selfish. I was rebellious, but you didn't let me